It was 7:45 a.m. when Julian Vance stepped through the glass doors of the North Terminal at Hartsfield-Jackson. Morning light spilled across polished floors, giving the illusion of perfect order. He walked with quiet dignity, leather carry-on gliding behind him, his navy suit moving like silk across his frame. Oxblood shoes shone, cufflinks gleamed. At 62, Julian carried a presence built through decades of boardrooms, summits, and hard-won credibility. Twice Forbes had featured him, not because he asked, but because sustainable enterprise and ethical leadership had made his name impossible to ignore. He moved toward Gate 17, pausing only to check a message from his assistant, Eleanor Hayes. Plane is on time. Call me after boarding about the San Francisco prep. He replied, copy, and continued, blending effortlessly with the rhythm of the terminal. First-class boarding, no checked bags, nod, scan, smile. He had performed this ritual countless times. Until now, at the podium, a young boarding agent stiffened when her eyes landed on him. Her badge read Chloe P. Julian offered his digital boarding pass with a steady good morning. She didn't return the greeting, instead studying her screen, frowning. Sir, this is the premium boarding line, she said flatly. I'm aware. Julian Vance, seat 1A. Still frowning, she asked for his ID. Julian blinked in mild surprise, but handed her his Georgia license. She examined it as if it were counterfeit. Is there a problem? He asked. Without responding, she picked up the phone. Supervisor to Gate 17. Possible boarding discrepancy. Passengers stir behind him. Someone muttered, here we go. Julian stayed calm. I don't understand. Protocol, Chloe said curtly. No, it isn't, Julian replied. I've flown Zenith Airways 37 times in 2 years, always through this line. Never once questioned. Her voice sharpened. I'm just doing my job. Are you? He asked softly. She bristled. I don't like your tone. A nervous TSA officer approached. Sir, ID again, please. Julian handed it over slowly. The officer glanced at the card. Matches the ticket. Seat 1A. Correct, Julian said. And I have a meeting to catch. Chloe cut in. Still, supervisor needed. Murmurs rippled. Phones appeared. A man whispered, Isn't that the Meridian Foods guy? Recognition spread. Then the supervisor arrived, heels clicking, Zenith blazer, hair in a bun. Her badge read, Lena Santori. What's going on? She demanded. Chloe quickly explained. Lena's eyes locked on Julian. Recognition hit instantly. Mr. Vance, she said, tone shifting to alarmed respect. Miss Santori, Julian replied, calm but cool. He didn't match his profile, Chloe muttered. Lena snapped. Mr. Vance supplies our premium food line. He was invited personally. His name is on my calendar. Chloe protested. I was following protocol. Lena's voice cut like steel. No, you were making assumptions. She turned to Julian. I deeply apologize, sir. Please let me escort you. Julian regarded her silently, then said, Your airline holds a $48 million contract with my company. Yet apparently that doesn't buy me the benefit of the doubt. The silence that followed was suffocating. Passengers stared, recording, whispering. Without further comment, Julian allowed Lena to escort him down the jet bridge. In seat 1A, he folded his hands, staring out at the tarmac. 10 minutes later, Eleanor texted, Lena's team is panicking. Want to respond? He typed back, no. Let them sit with it. The flight lifted. Julian didn't sleep. He watched the clouds, not angry in the explosive way people expected, but with a slow, quiet burn that lodged deep in the bones, a fire that never flared but refused to die. At baggage claim, a black SUV waited. Mr. Vance, welcome to Atlanta, the driver said. The city stretched familiar and distant beyond the glass. In his pocket, Julian unfolded the printed speech for the summit, the one carefully edited, approved by PR. The first line read, Our food systems must evolve, but they must also remember where they come from. Safe words, but now they felt hollow, like they belonged to someone else. Eleanor waited in the hotel lobby, tablet in hand, blazer sharp, expression unreadable. In the elevator, silence grew between them. When the doors opened on the 16th floor, she finally spoke. Zenith's legal team called. They're expecting a response. Julian said nothing. He walked into his suite, the folded speech still in his hand. The skyline stretched across the window, sharp steel against pale sky. He placed the speech on a desk. For the first time in years, he thought of abandoning safe words, of stepping beyond polished lines. The burn inside him was no longer patient. It was shifting, shaping, waiting. Julian opened the door to his suite and tossed his bag onto the couch as Eleanor followed, closing the door behind her. "You can't ignore this," she said. "The video's online, clipped, subtitled, dissected." He sank into the armchair, weary. "I know." She didn't stop. "I've seen the drafts, the NDAs, the Sterling Group emails. They'll gut it. Your name, your recipes, your vision, slapped on frozen meals for cruise ships." He exhaled. "I know." Her voice sharpened. "Then why let them?" He looked away. "I did everything right. Paid fair wages, hit sustainability quotas before they were law, sent young chefs to culinary school, planted gardens in food deserts. Still, they look at me like I don't belong." "Which is why you can't surrender now," she pressed. "I'm tired." "Then rest," she said softly. "But don't surrender." A knock came at the door. "Mr. Vance, conference tech check." Eleanor asked, "Speech?" He shook his head. "From memory." The conference hall buzzed as Julian walked to the podium in his Navy suit. "Yesterday, I was stopped at the airport. Not because of a sensor or a flag. I was stopped because they didn't see a CEO. They saw a problem." The room fell silent, phones raised, cameras fixed. "I plan to retire today. Hand off Meridian Foods to a larger entity. But this morning reminded me, systems don't collapse overnight. They erode. From cracks, shortcuts, unchecked habits. So I'm not retiring. Not yet. I'll fight for a world where the next kid who looks like me doesn't have to prove he belongs." The applause swelled, rolling through the crowd. When he stepped off stage, Eleanor was waiting. "Cancel the deal," he said. "Call every supplier. We're expanding." That night, Eleanor brought him dinner and a laptop. "They're calling it one of the boldest speeches in conference history," she said. "But look at this." She turned the screen. Julian read the email chain between Zenith Airways and Sterling Group. Phase out low-income districts. Drop domestic farms. Source bulk from Southeast Asia. His jaw tightened. They weren't buying us. They were waiting for me to disappear. Later, he remembered a call from Congressman Marcus Thorne, who wanted to use his case to draft business equity legislation. It wasn't for an interview. It was for change. Over dinner, Julian told Eleanor, "When I was a kid, my mom sent me to the store with food stamps. The clerk always helped everyone else first. I told myself I'd build something so good no one could question if I belonged. But I failed." Eleanor shook her head. "You didn't fail. Building isn't enough. Leading is." He nodded. "Then we fight." In the days ahead, Julian ignored the media storm but moved decisively inside Meridian. Back in New York, he told his team, "All negotiations are paused. The Regional Partners Fund is reactivated. Full budget." No one questioned him. Later, on the rooftop garden, he turned to Eleanor. "I want you to take over as CEO. Officially." She froze. "Julian, it's about the future. If I stay too long, I become the gatekeeper." She saw the conviction in his face and understood. Months later, Meridian launched routes and return in 5 cities, partnering with schools, gardens, and cooperatives. Julian visited each site personally, walking fields with farmers, eating at cafeteria tables with students, listening more than speaking. That spring, he stepped down quietly. No press release, no farewell event. He left a handwritten note on Eleanor's desk. "It's time." Then he returned to Detroit, buying the crumbling corner market his mother once ran. He rebuilt it, not as a store, but as a teaching center where kids could learn not just cooking, but growing, distributing, and sustaining. One summer afternoon, a boy of 10 approached him outside. "Are you the guy from the airport video?" Julian smiled. "Maybe." The boy frowned. "You looked mad, but like calm mad." Julian chuckled. "That's fair." The boy shuffled his feet. "My uncle said you used to be rich." "I'm doing all right," Julian said. "But you don't act like rich guys. No car, no watch. Maybe being rich isn't about what you wear." "Then what is it?" the boy asked. Julian looked out at teenagers laughing as they planted herbs under the summer sun. "It's about what you leave behind," he said.